Remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download
You
the
may
app
think
today.
money problems are just impossible to fix. Get sound advice with Dave Ramsey 1 to 4 weekdays, followed by certified financial planner Jason Qualls at 4. The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
All right, welcome into another Wednesday here on the Roundtable on WGNS. Chip Walters with you from Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates, and the Blue Raider Network. And we're going to talk, we're going to make this a Blue Raider Wednesday leading into the opening football game this Saturday at Alabama. The Blue Raider Network broadcast on the air at 5 o'clock with the old pro, Dick Palmer, and J.P. Plant with our tailgate show. And then Big Joe Dubin and I will have the kickoff at 6:30 Central Time. Actually, 6:39 we found out yesterday. And Joe will join me in the final segment of today's show. But we're going to tip it off today talking about Blue Raider basketball and their recent trip to Italy and a little team building, where they are and all of that. And the best way to do that is to bring in the head coach. And Coach Nick McDevitt is here with us today. And, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me this morning.
Buongiorno.
We learned a little bit of Italian over there.
Yeah, buongiorno, grazie, and arrivederci. That was about the limit of mine.
Yeah, you learned a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, there you go. And the key was to know when to use those three. But this Italian foreign tour, give folks a little bit of an idea of because there were a ton of schools in our hotel in Rome. It was our guys were there. The American University guys were there. The BYU women and Cal San Diego, was it women or men that were there?
The women, and it looked like UC Davis was coming in right when we were checking out, headed to Florence. So
that was just in our hotel.
That was just in Rome.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there were others spread out around the rest of the country of Italy. But, you know, you're allowed, the NCAA allows you to go on one of these foreign tours once every 4 years. But there are some teams, this was our year 4, you know, so this is the first year we've been eligible to go since we went to Costa Rica several years ago. But for some teams, they haven't gone in 5 or 6 years because one of the years they were eligible to go was during COVID. And so you've gotten a real big influx of teams that took their foreign tour opportunity this year. And so we were fortunate enough to be one of those teams that got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and not only did Middle go this summer, just from around here, Tennessee went the week before Middle did. Week before that, Georgia was over there. Belmont made a trip. Vanderbilt women made a trip over there. So there were a lot of teams in this area that went to it, and those were just the ones that went to Italy. There were others who went other places, like Coach mentioned. But when you go to put a trip like that together, and when it was announced, you know, it was announced that it was a privately funded trip. And how do you go about that? Because you do have, you know, opportunities for fundraising and things like that.
Yeah, just you want to be able to provide opportunities to your players and think about some of the things that you've been able to do over the last several years, and some of the things that are kind of on the books for the upcoming years. We've been fortunate enough to take our team to the Bahamas. We'll go again this year during the regular season, during an MTE around Thanksgiving. We took our team to Canada last year. We've been to Cancun. And so kind of the beach had kind of been checkmarked. So we wanted to be able to provide
Not
more.
that I'm against the beach.
I'm never against the beach. My wife certainly is not. But our players enjoy those kind of things. But in this instance, we just felt like it was a great opportunity to go look at some things and visit some places with a little bit more of a historical perspective. So none better than to be able to visit Rome. And so anytime you cross the water, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than if you stay kind of in this time zone. You think about a trip to Costa Rica or the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas. When you're not crossing the Atlantic Ocean, it can be a little more easy on the checkbook.
Right.
But we wanted to be able to provide that kind of opportunity and started reaching out to our former players and our donors and our boosters, our supporters, and we're able to really just raise the money through that avenue in order to be able to afford this trip.
Yeah, and the thing is with this, when you decided you were going to go and you knew you had the funding ready for it, how much did you prepare the guys, your players, about what they were going to see, what they were going to do prior to getting there? Because I'll say as a witness of this that they were very attentive, very locked in, and it seemed like they had an idea of what they were getting into.
Yeah, I think our first of all, we just tried to make sure they understood. You're going to a foreign country. You're going to see and experience different kinds of food and culture and the money, the weather, which, by the way, you and I both know was really hot.
Yes.
It was a great trip that I think that they appreciated. Just learning about the way different people live and the different the pace to everyday life is a little bit different, a little bit slower in Europe and most places. You sit down to eat, and they're not trying to turn the table over in a hurry. They're wanting to treat you to an experience when you sit down and eat. So our players were kind of expecting that when we got over there. So from the travel to the experiences that they got while they were there, I think they did a really good job off the basketball court. I thought they did a good job there, but off the basketball court, I thought they were just trying to soak it all in.
Yeah, you and I are old enough to worry about things we don't necessarily need to worry about sometimes, but that's your job. That's what you have to do when you're in charge of 13, 18 to 22-year-olds. But I'm thinking, okay, do I need to walk down that street? Or, I sometimes get concerned. Am I going to get somewhere I've never been? Am I going to get lost? Those guys, they just, took off as a group and were loving it. And I thought one of the biggest accomplishments that we had as a group the entire week, knowing that we were, we go to the Coliseum and there's thousands of people there. We go to the Vatican, there's thousands of people there. The Gallery Academia, where the statue of David is, there's thousands of people there. We didn't lose anybody the whole week, and it was pretty amazing.
It was pretty amazing. From the time we left Murfreesboro, we didn't lose anybody or any luggage, and everybody and everything was kind of where it was supposed to be for that 8 or 9 days. And, again, I just thought our guys did a really good job of looking out for themselves and each other. One of the things that we kept telling them is, when we're not around each other, which was a lot, but when we weren't traveling as a group, just to make sure that as they were kind of sightseeing on their own, just to let somebody know where you're going and make sure you're not traveling by yourself. And they did a really good job of that and kind of looked out for themselves, and we had no issues while we were there.
That's part of the team building part that that is part of one of those trips. Obviously, the cultural piece of it with all the things we saw, and we'll continue to dive into that. But there is, of course, the basketball component. And with 6 new players on your roster this year, it was a perfect time to go do a trip like this, and tell folks why that is.
Yeah, anytime it's going to help you anytime you get the opportunity to enjoy a trip like this, and you're in the summer where you can take a foreign tour. But to be able to do it where you've got so many new pieces, as you just mentioned, we have 6 new players, but we also got some returning players who are going to be in some different roles than they've been since they've been here. And so to be able to play some outside competition, the NCAA does not allow you to play against on United States soil in the summer, and you can't play against teams from the United States. So you make these foreign tours and go overseas and play against outside competition. But the other part to that is the 10 additional practices you get before you leave. The NCAA limits you to 8 weeks in the summer with your players. Well, during those 8 weeks, you only get 4 hours a week on the basketball court. So you're talking about 32 hours really in the summer with your players, but you get 10 more practices, and really you're talking about 2-hour practices. So you're going from roughly 30, 35 hours on the court to 50 plus with your team. So it's a big difference if you can really take advantage of those extra hours that you get with your team.
And like you said, with the new players that are coming in, and once you get over there from the basketball perspective, one of the things you found out is you had to be a little flexible with your practice locations and we get over there, and they all of a sudden one of the game dates and opponents was changed once you got there, which it turned out to probably be better overall because of the way it fell within the trip. But how much control do you have over the type of teams you play and the level of competition, or does that really matter as long as you do what you do?
It really kind of depends from program to program and staff to staff, coach to coach, of what they're trying to do. It can, generally speaking, drive up the cost of your trip if what you're trying to do is play against elite competition. For instance, you don't always have control, obviously, of who you're going to play, but you can kind of give the travel company that's organizing your trip an idea of the level of competition you're looking to play. If you tell them it really doesn't matter, then they're going to go on convenience and who's available in the city that you're going to be traveling in. You can try to mix it up, and we'd like to have a middle-of-the-road opponent and one elite opponent. But I say it may drive up the cost of your travel. Some of the players that you play, if you're going to play an elite competition type of a team, sometimes those players are compensated in order to play the teams traveling over there from the United States. And so the way they will do that is kind of build it into the cost of each person that's traveling. And now all of a sudden a $5,000 or $6,000 per person trip turns into a $10,000 or $12,000 per person trip. Well, then the travel company will then flip and pays the team that you are playing a little bit in order for them to play you. Because what happens is some of these pro teams, their training camp over there will start around early September. Well,
they're having to come in a little early.
They will have to come in early. So in order to entice them to come in early, they maybe get compensated a little bit to show up early and play against some of the teams that are traveling from the United States.
And I see Justin Buford is on Zoom. We're going to get him in just a second. So JB, hang on there tight. The teams that you played a team in Livorno, which was trying to think. They were called what were they called? The
West Coast,
the West Coast Squad, and then you had another called Pro Camp that you played in a town called Brescia, and he with those. Again, the level of competition, it was funny because one team, I thought was really well coached. He flipped and defensively and played his own defense against you guys, something you all hadn't practiced against all summer, and it showed for a few minutes, but that ended up being a good learning experience for your team.
Well, first of all, from our standpoint, you want to see how some guys can react to a little bit of adversity. You're in a gym you've never been in, you're playing against a team that you've never scouted, and all of a sudden you're facing a defense that you haven't prepared for all summer. Generally speaking, unless you're Syracuse and Jim Boeheim, you're not practicing on a lot of your zone defense and zone offense during the summer. You're trying to make sure that you're kind of a well-oiled machine, or at least as much as you can be with your man stuff. So to see a different defense in a different gym and against a different team, you wanted to see that a little bit. I thought our guys handled it pretty well. We got out to a big lead, to your point, and then they decided to go zone. And it was good to see how some of the guys reacted.
Absolutely it was. And the Blue Raiders got 2 30-plus point wins against those pro teams in Italy. We're going to take our break just a little bit early, and Justin Buford is standing by on Zoom, and we're going to get his reactions to the trip when we return to the Roundtable here on WGNS.
You know, there's a lot of people out there talking about testosterone. You hear about treatment centers everywhere. But do your homework and go to a provider that you can trust, one that's been doing it for years. I recommend Low T Center on Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro. That's where I get my levels checked. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy. Walk in, take a simple blood test, and then with their on-site lab, you get the results in 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, weight gain, or loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Low T Center is not like a typical doctor's office where you have to wait a long time to see the doctor. Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for men. They have affordable and convenient options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to your home each month. No need to drive to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your testosterone level tested. So what are you waiting for? Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Rising interest rates are making the news, but what if you need a new car to get to work? At Heritage South Community Credit Union, we help when others won't. And we could help you get a break from your interest rate when purchasing anything that rolls or floats. This includes new or used autos, boats, RVs, motorcycles, and more. But hurry, this limited time offer ends soon. You can learn more or apply online at heritagesouth.org. Terms and conditions apply. Insured by NCUA.
We're talking with Pat Wingo at Adams Place.
My son's researched, I think, 9 places, and it kept coming back here.
So your son said, Mom, this is it.
Oh, hands down, I'd say Adams Place. It's 5-star rated in Tennessee, and they live up to that rating. I'm thankful to be here.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place, located at 1927 Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pets.
Here's Tom Sweat with AmeriCare Services Incorporated.
AmeriCare's moisture control services include mold testing, mold remediation, crawl space repair, vapor barrier, sump pump installation, radon testing, radon mitigation, and basement waterproofing. If there's something wrong in your crawl space or basement, we can probably help. Just ask for a free inspection.
893-7111.
All the best of the best to get rid of your pets.
AmeriCare Services Incorporated.
Let's check those WGNS Good Neighbor events. Don't miss the Fall Native Plant Sale as well as the Hummingbird Festival. Both of those this Saturday at the Wilderness Station at Barfield Crescent Park. Do you have your ticket yet for First Shots Autumn with the Alley? That'll be Thursday evening, September 21st, over at Saddle Woods Farm on Franklin Road here in Murfreesboro. An evening of fun to benefit First Shot. Don't miss the farmers markets every Tuesday and Friday mornings from 7 until noon at the Lane Agri-Park, and then 2 of them on Saturdays. One is on the Murfreesboro Square around the courthouse from 8 until noon, and the other one is in Smyrna, right there at the train depot, also from 8 until noon Saturday mornings. Oh yes, let's get a dose of local history too. Come on over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse this Saturday morning from 9 until noon. Members of the Rutherford County Historical Society will be there to talk local history. Plenty of coffee and free donuts. 717 North Academy Street. Yes, it is free. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Good Neighbor weather.
We'll see mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the upper 80s. Northeast winds of 5 to 15 miles per hour and at times gusting as high as 20. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 67.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE serves members with more than just electricity. Their community outreach team works with schools, parents, and students to provide engaging and unique learning experiences. MTE serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable for this Wednesday. Glad to have you with us. Coach Nick McDevitt of Blue Raider Basketball is here, and want to welcome in a junior from Selma, Alabama, Justin Buford. And JB, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Chip?
I'm doing good, doing good. Have you gotten yourself acclimated back to the United States after the trip to Italy?
Not quite. I still be waking up at crazy times of the night, and I can't, like, my sleep schedule's still kind of off, so not all the way yet, but it's getting better.
Well, you know, everybody that I've run into since I got back said, "What was your favorite thing you saw in Italy?" So I'm going to turn that around on you. What were your favorite parts of the trip?
My favorite. Now, don't get me wrong. The whole trip probably my favorite, because Italy is another part of the world, and a lot of people probably would never see that in their life. So I'm just thankful for the experience. But my favorite part probably would be definitely the Vatican. That was just like that's just crazy artwork. That's crazy architecture going on. Probably just what's the lake we went to, Lake Como?
Lake Como, yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, probably those two probably are the highlights for sure.
What did you think about the Colosseum and the Roman Forum? I mean, you could just go on and on because it was all so impressive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll just be rambling because everything, like the Roman Colosseum, it was great to see, like, and you know, just knowing the history about what used to go down there. Just walking around Rome, Milan, just walking around, because we did do a lot of like tours on feet. Just walking around the cities, like the whole experience was just so fun, because like you seeing buildings, like giant buildings with great architecture and great artwork, and it's like you got people telling you like this is done by hand. We went and seen the David statue from done by Michelangelo. They saying like he did that with his hands, like his hands in a stone. Like it's just crazy seeing that type of stuff, because you see that statue like in cartoons and in books and in online, but you like just to see it in person, to see the details. And he had no type of technology like we do today, so it's like amazing how he did that, especially to that statue.
You got to go into the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, and you know they didn't allow any photographs in there and all of that, but you know Michelangelo did that, and it took him 8 years or so, 4 years to do that ceiling. I'm like you. It was just so overwhelming in the Vatican in particular, with all the different art masterpieces, and the biggest, of course, was the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. It was something else.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was mind blowing. And while we were in there, you know, we had our the lady that was giving us the information. You know, she was in our ear while we was in there, and she was just telling us like all that Michelangelo did, like the way he painted it. Like she was saying, like he painted it upside down. He painted the ceiling upside down, and just imagine all those years hanging upside down. She told us like how doing that kind of messed his also his brain a little bit. She was saying like by the late ages of his life that he only could read like a certain way. He had to hold a paper like in the sky to read it, because he'd been hanging upside down for so long. And just seeing the artwork that he did and the little things he left in there, like on the wall, not the ceiling, this was on the wall, how one of the saints died, they skinned him alive, but Michelangelo put the skin in his hand. Like just little stuff like that. It's just crazy, like amazing artwork.
It really was, and I can tell that you obviously paid attention to our tour guides over there. Changing gears just a little bit, you're a team guy. You've always been a team guy. What did this trip and the preparation, the extra practices, what do you think that is going to do for this team as a team coming together and being a better basketball team this year?
I feel like this trip gave us a step on the competition, and I felt like we needed it because you know this is a fairly new team, but surprisingly this team right here is gelled together so much. Like right now I'm in the locker room and nobody has left yet. We had 8 o'clock waits, and we got the whole team in here still in there, just talking to each other, just bonding right now. Like nobody left. Probably some guy, myself included, I'm finna get a workout in, but the guys are just in there behind me right now. I don't know if you can hear them. They just talking, laughing, having a good time. Like this team is gelled together so well. But this trip helped us even more. Like like just being around each other, finally playing against other competition. So yeah, I feel like right now we got to jump on a lot of competition. All we got to do now is just fine tune a couple things, and this is going to be an incredible season.
One of the things from a basketball standpoint that, and I told Coach about this, that really touched me was when we were in Livorno for your first game, and you guys were going to put on a clinic for about 30 teenage girls, and it was absolutely amazing how everybody jumped in, got involved, and were able to do a clinic. And they couldn't understand your English, you all couldn't understand their Italian, but you used the basketball as a common language, and that was an incredible hour because they were looking up to you guys like you were you were their heroes, and they were really paying attention and tried to get better, and you guys really went at it hard trying to help them get better.
Yes, sir. Because at this level, at this age, you understand that it's bigger than you. Like it's way bigger than you. It's about your family. It's about your school. It's about who you represent. It's about who you are as a person. And just saying, like you said, like the look that those little girls had for us, like that should just put a spark in your heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just like you said, they think you are a hero. Like, you might not think you're a hero, but those kids think you are their hero. And it's like you said, we could barely understand each other, but we use basketball just to come together, and they understood that. And just to, just to help out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. They probably won't get that again in their life, but just imagine how long that's going to take, like how far that they're going to think about that, and like what it's going to take them in life. Like they can always say like, yeah, we met like an American college team, like, and they came here and they played our guys and they beat them, but we met some American, like, it's just amazing to do. Like, you should want to do stuff like that. And I was happy to be a part of it.
Well, there's some MT basketball T-shirts running around Livorno, Italy. I can promise you that. JB,
yes,
how many hours you got this fall?
I think I got a regular load, Chip.
All right, you got it all under control?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it all under control.
All right, good deal. Well, I don't want to hold you away from your duties there, but hey, thanks for coming on for a few minutes and kind of giving a player's perspective on this. It means a lot, and so I appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chip. Thank you for having me.
All right, appreciate it. That's Justin Buford and Coach Exhibit A right there.
Man, you can't have enough JBs on your team. I've said over and over, if I could have 15 of him, I'd go play against anybody. He's the kind of guys you have to have as a part of your team, but really part of your organization, your company, whatever it is. Guys like JB, Justin Buford, make your team better, your company better, your organization better. He's about the right stuff. I love that kid, that young man. He's not a kid anymore. He's a young man, but his folks, his family, did a great job of raising that young man because he's about the right stuff.
One of the lessons that you guys teach kids in a team setting is, one of the traits is accountability, and you see. You hear him, things like that, and that just spreads throughout your team.
No doubt, and you had mentioned this before JB came on, but that our guys did a good job of soaking it in, paying attention. We just proved it.
I know.
He clearly was paying attention, whether we were in Lake Como or Florence or Rome. He and his teammates, I just thought, were doing a great job, whether it was the clinic, the game, the travel, an experience. They were there all in all the time, and that's how you get the most out of a trip. And for them to understand this is special. Not everybody gets to do something like this, so make sure you take advantage of it. I thought they did that. I thought they took advantage, and again, thanks to our donors, our boosters, our former players, they helped make things like what Justin just talked about possible.
Yeah, and as he said, most of his teammates might never have had that opportunity, and he certainly obviously had some gratitude for that.
Absolutely. And not just for our players, but for those people that you had an opportunity to touch while we were there. You know, there was the team that we helped train for that hour session was a club team of 13 to 14-year-old young ladies, and our players, I thought, just dove right in and did a good job of teaching those young ladies some of the things that we do, and it was a good experience for all.
It was. Now, you went over there and basically started your games with and played with basically 3 starters. Jalen Jordan in particular is a guy who's coming back from 2 injuries, but everybody got a lot of minutes on the basketball side of things. Kind of give us your thoughts. You've had plenty of time to let it sink in of what you saw, what you liked, and what do you need to work on?
The thing that I liked the most was I thought we were an unselfish group. You didn't see a lot of ill-advised shots or too many guys or really any guys playing me basketball. When one of the games we took, we were like, I don't know, something for 38, 15 for 38, 13 for 38, somewhere around there from 3. And I thought 30 to 33 of them were really good shots. A few here and there that aren't your favorites, but we took quality shots. The other was we weren't throwing the ball all over the gym. We had turnovers, but we had a couple of charges here and there, or a walk or an offensive fouls, things like that. There weren't many live ball wild passes. So you always want to have good ball care. You know, we talk about ball care all the time. Well, ball care can be bad shots, and ball care is going to be turnovers. And I just thought we moved the basketball, took good shots when we were open, and moved it when we weren't. And I think that's the good sign of things to come, is when you don't have guys that are playing me ball and guys that can pass and catch it.
You had you were positive assist to turnovers in both games, and boy, that'll be great if you can carry that over into the regular season.
Absolutely. Anytime that you can assist it more and you turn it over, you're in good shape. And we want to, generally speaking, we talk to our team trying to stay around 10 or 12 turnovers a game. You know, you're going to have mishaps, but out of those 10 or 12, you don't want all 10 or 12 to be live ball. You know, throwing it out of bounds isn't the worst thing. It's kind of like the incomplete pass for the quarterback. Make sure you throw it over his head. Don't throw it short and throw interceptions. And same thing in basketball. There's going to be times where you turn it over. You just don't want to throw it right to the other team to where those are the turnovers that are hard to defend. The other team's going the other way, 3-on-1 and 2-on-1. You want to be able to you know, make sure you're able to defend your opponent all the time, and some of that comes on the other end of the floor with good ball care.
The obviously in the new world of college athletics that we have, it's you know, you're going to lose people going out the door in the transfer portal. The transfer portal giveth and it taketh away, and so after a year where you were one of only 3 teams in the country that didn't gain or lose anybody, this past year it was a little more active, and there are new faces, and I thought they all got better on this trip, and there's some new guys that the fans are going to really like.
Yeah, I think they all bring something different to the table. We have 6 new players, 3 are Division I transfers, 2 are high school players, and 1 junior college player. So we lost a couple of guys either to graduation or transfer, and we were able to replace those guys with 6 newcomers that I think are going to really help our team.
All right, we're going to give you a little lightning round here before we wrap up. And Brian, we're going to take this break just a little bit early. So best meal you had on the trip to Italy?
The pregame meal before our second game.
Yeah.
I thought it was hands down. The food was terrific, but the setting at that vineyard up on top of a mountain, we were up there kind of by ourselves at this quaint vineyard that, you know, was able to house people, but there at the vineyard, kind of a small boutique hotel resort vineyard type setting, but the food was incredible. But the combination of the food and the venue made that a special meal.
If you could pick one thing that you saw to go back and see again to let it sink in a little more, what would it be?
I don't think looking up the Sistine Chapel could ever get old.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like every minute you were kind of glancing back at something that your eyes had already gone across, that now all of a sudden you picked out. You heard JB talk about little details in the paintings. You're talking about a massive ceiling and the walls. There's details everywhere. I could have stayed in that room for a lot longer.
Yeah. What did you not see that you would go back to see?
I don't know.
I would probably want to go to Venice, maybe.
I would definitely go back to Italy and check out other cities, because I was not disappointed or let down at any place we went to. For me, just being able to go to the Forum and the Roman Colosseum, and that was a bucket list deal for me.
And I can tell you from the Colosseum, of all the I will say this: our tour guide, I asked her, I said, in the movie Gladiator, was the Colosseum portrayed as accurately? And she said, outside of one little small detail, as far as they know from all the records, that in the movie Gladiator, the Colosseum looked exactly as it did when it was actually going on 2,000 years ago.
And when you think about how, it's obviously it's not in pristine shape still, but it's also 2,000 years old. And when you think about the kind of condition it's still in 2,000 years later, it is kind of pristine to think about it in that form. But to build something that massive that long ago without modern day tools and modern day technology, it's a marvel.
Well, it certainly is. And Saturday we'll get a chance to stand down on the field at Bryant-Denny Stadium and look up, and it'll look similar to the Coliseum, because the Coliseum could seat 72,000 people. Nick, appreciate the time. I wanted to kind of, while we were fresh, to talk about this, and man, it was great to hear what JB had to say. That
Absolutely.
was terrific.
It was. He's a good one.
All right, put your seatbelts on. Big Joe Dubin is standing by, and he will join us when we return for the final segment of the Roundtable here on WGNS. Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people, and much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2023. Save 60%. Code 2023. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
This is Mike Cutter, owner of the award-winning family-owned home care agency Honey Hill Home Care, the non-medical home care agency for seniors in Murfreesboro. Don't let worry consume your family. Experience the difference at Honey Hill Home Care. Check us out online, honeyhillhc.com.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstirepros.tn.com.
This is Lisa Halliburton with Bell Jewelers. We have gifts for everyone. If you want to commemorate your children's birthstones, and all the different birthstone colors is very popular. We do in-house engraving. We can even do your own personal signature or the kids' handprint on a piece of jewelry or something in their handwriting. Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots Restaurant.
Woodbury Road Baptist Church invites you to worship with us this Sunday morning at 10:45. If you can't make it in person, listen to WGNS Sunday morning at 10:15. Find out more at woodburyroadbaptist.org. We look forward to worshiping with you this Sunday.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Wednesday Roundtable. Chip Walters here. Thanks to Coach Nick McDevitt and also Justin Buford talking about their experience in Italy with their foreign tour and how it all came about and so much that was gained. But this week it is the opening week of college football, week 1. Of course, there were some week 0 games, including 5 Conference USA teams that played last week. But our focus is on the Blue Raiders and number 3, Alabama, coming up on Saturday. And joining me here for this final segment is my broadcast partner, Joe Dubin. And Big Joe, you have been fired up for about a month right now. And is it? Are you going to reach a crescendo here about 6:30 on Saturday?
I think so. I think hopefully I'll reach it at 10 o'clock on Saturday night when Middle pulls a massive upset. So I'll look forward to that. But no, I mean, it's been fun. I mean, I love the game of football so much, what it's done for me, and I've played it and the friendships I've met along the way. And now to see it from this side and to be immersed in this and getting to know Middle's players and coaches and working with you. I mean, it's just, I wake up just excited, ready to go. It's been fantastic. So I can't thank you enough. I'm doing a few interviews around the Southeast and talk about Middle Tennessee football, which is always good. It's funny, Chip, when I talk to these people, that win over Miami last year, I know Coach Stock doesn't want to talk about it. I know it's last year, but that opened so many eyes, and people remember that game so much that we think outside of our little bubble, Murfreesboro, that's like we remember it, but really around the Southeast, that game still sticks in everybody's minds pretty well.
I'm like you. I've done either 6 or 7 interviews with different media outlets in Alabama since Sunday, including one this morning before going on this show. But as this team comes together, I mean, you were there for Coach Stock's show on Monday night. You've seen his press conference. And I think, a lot of folks think, oh, they're going to go in and be intimidated and all that. I don't see that happening because year after year, Middle's football program is typically in a situation of going in and playing a ranked team in the first month or 2 of the season. Last year, going to Miami that was ranked didn't faze them at all. This is a different animal, obviously, with Alabama, but I think their mindset from the head coach on down is to worry about, stick to your own knitting and worry about that. The rest of it will take care of itself.
Well, that's it. And also, 25, 30 years ago, if you open the season of a MTSU or a Austin P or Tennessee Tech, you open the season at a big Division I power, it was different because no kids had experience. No kids would expect. Not the transfer portal, Chip. I mean, a lot of these kids have played in big-time environments. Middle's got a bunch of guys come back who played last year in that environment. So it's not like they're walking into something brand new. I know it's Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's Alabama. And I get all that. I understand that. But at the same time, you go in with the mindset of like, wow, that's Alabama. Wait, this is really great. I mean, you got to play football. So you go down there, don't be intimidated. Remember, I mean, it's a 60-minute game, and just go out and play football. And like that great scene in the movie Hoosiers where he measures the score of the rim, and it's 94 feet from baseline to baseline. I mean, it's still football. And not to use Alabama reference, Bear Bryant said it well many, many years ago. It comes down to 2 things, blocking and tackling. It's that simple.
All right, well, let's talk about the blockers and tacklers. For Middle offensively, one of the themes that comes up is to play cleanly because Alabama's good enough without giving them any gifts. And when you hear Nick Vattiato talk this week, he talks about, at the end of the day, it is a football game, and he has confidence in his offensive line. And they're going to be a key in this because Alabama's pretty aggressive, and obviously they're big up front.
Well, they're big up front. And the thing is always, and Chip, you've covered many of these games as well, is that Alabama's going to hit you hard, right? And so the thing is, like Rocky says, you got to get back up. You got to keep going. I mean, those big plays are going to come from Alabama. They just happen. Those big plays happen in a football game. It's how you react to those. And so if Middle can come out and really get that ball down the field, get some points on the board early and kind of establish their tone for a little bit, I think it's going to be fantastic. And I think Nick is – was watching Nick at practice, listen to his press conference, and I think he's a quarterback that a coach loves because he's a little bit of a maverick. I mean, when things break down, he can make some plays happen. So, and I know Coach Stock loves Nick Vattiato. I mean, just because of the way he can make things happen when plays kind of break down that way. But it also, when Bama makes that big rush or they get a big play and that crowd's going to go crazy and the lights start flashing, you can't get caught up in all that stuff. And I think that's the message Coach Stockstill's trying to tell the guys, like, let's just play our game, keep playing football. And also, Chip, what I think was a plus for MTSU, and we've talked about this, Alabama plays Texas next week, right? Yeah. So how much does Nick Saban want to show? Nick Saban would like to win this game 28-0, play as many people as he can, not show anything. And that's kind of what I think his mindset would be because of Texas coming in. But if Middle can disrupt that plan for Nick Saban, that'll be fantastic.
Well, and, for the first time ever since he's been at Alabama, they did not put out a two-deep depth chart this week. And, it makes it a little harder on us because, we have to kind of scrounge around and find out what kind of information we can as far as who we expect to be the starters and the backups for Alabama. But right. I don't think he did that at all in regards to Middle. I think all of that of not putting out a depth chart is all about Texas.
Oh, yeah. And the Bama fans I've talked to was like, oh, yeah, Middle will be a fun little game. But Texas, we can't wait for Texas to come in there. So, you know what? That's fine for Middle. Let Bama and the fans think about Texas and what's going to happen next week. Fantastic. If I'm MTSU, I'm like, we're going down there. We're going to play football. And we're just going to get the job done and see what happens. And I think it's going to be – I know the spread was like 38 or 40, but my goodness, this is a really good MTSU football team that brings back a lot of key players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, as you well know, Chip. So I think Middleton is going to do some damage on Saturday, and I can't wait to see this firsthand.
Now let's talk a little bit about the defense because Alabama has not named a starting quarterback just yet, but you figure it's probably going to be Milrose, he's the senior guy in the quarterback room at Alabama. But Coach Stockstill said he felt like that Coach Saban's MO this week will be to try to impose their will with the running game. Because, again, it goes back to what you were talking about, not showing a bunch of the flashy stuff, go out and do what they can and use their size. Lean on Middle, and because Middle's not going to have the size advantage in this game. Middle may have speed advantage at certain places, but the defense is got to be number one. You don't want to let anything get behind you for a big play,
right?
But then you've just got to be snap at a time, snap at a time, snap at a time. And keep the ball in front of you.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, those big boys, they can wear you down and keep going and keep going and keep going. But again, if Middle can knock them out of their rhythm just for a little bit, because it's opening game. Bama hasn't played since the Sugar Bowl or Kansas State last December, whenever it was. So there's a lot of unknowns for them as well. I'm sure there's a lot of jitters for these guys and opening game. And again, looking forward to Texas next week, which is great. But we saw it firsthand last year down in the Orange Bowl at Miami. You strike quick. You got the pick six. The game, you dictated that game no matter how much the officials wanted to give that game to Miami last year. But you're going to go out and kind of make your tone for a little bit. And here's the deal. We always put ourselves in situations like if we were the coach, what would we tell the teams? If I'm Rick Stockstill, and he does a great job of a pregame speech, if it was me doing it, I'd be like, look, here's a chance, to measure yourself at guys who think they're better than you are. These 4 and 5 stars, you think you're a 4-star? Well, here's your chance on Saturday night to prove it. With your brothers, go out and make that game and play the game and show the world that you belong on this level. It's up to you. I can coach you all day long. It's up to you to go out and do that, which I think is fantastic. Now, if I'm Nick Saban on the other side, and we talked about this, is that I'm telling my team, like, look, this team went down to Miami last year and punished the Hurricanes, punished them, beat them every way possible. They're coming to Tuscaloosa with intentions of doing the same thing, Don't worry about Texas. You need to worry about MTSU, because if they beat you, Texas is irrelevant next week. Nobody's talking about you. You need to figure out how to beat MTSU Saturday night, because they are coming here to beat you. And I think that's a speech that Nick Saban should and probably should give and will give Saturday night before the game.
Since he's gotten to Tuscaloosa, everybody's been trying to figure out what is the special sauce that Nick Saban has. In your opinion, you've heard a lot of interviews with him. You've heard a lot of his press conferences. And what do you think it is? Because the thing that really sticks out to me all the time is he really never talks about opponents. He always talks about his own team playing to their standard. And I think he doesn't judge his program and teaches his kids not to judge themselves against other teams. They want to judge it against their own standard. And to me, that's the special sauce I think he has.
Well, yeah, exactly right. I talked to Carson Tinker. He was from Murfreesboro, Riverdale, long snapper, Alabama, years ago, about what is it about him? I mean, what is it? There's great coaches all over. What is it about him? He said it's the accountability that he makes you have to your teammates, which is something else. And I know a lot of coaches still do that as well. But he goes, for some reason, it just sticks with us. We don't want to let our teammates down. And once he puts that in our minds, like we're in this together, it just kind of goes from there. That's what I take away from talking to Carson about that. I mean, I've talked to Derrick Henry about the Alabama vibe and the Alabama kind of mystique, and he was on the same thing. It's like, you just don't want to let that guy down. I mean, that guy is hard on you. He's difficult on you. He teaches you hard. He pushes you hard. He goes, but you don't want to let him down at the end of the day. And when you get everybody buying into that same message, well, I mean, look at his record since he came there, since 2007. It's been fantastic. And they really took off that 2009 season when they won the national championship and went on and on. So I think it's the accountability that he preaches to those guys off camera and in the locker room, and the ability to be better than yourself, be part of something bigger than yourself. I think he just has a special message of doing that. I know a lot of coaches preach that, but for some reason, Nick Saban really gets that across to his guys.
You know, this will be the fourth time since 2000 that Middle will have played at Alabama. The first game was at Legion Field. This will be the third at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I was reading something on social media, so it has to be true, that that Middle is 3-0 against the spread facing Alabama in the past. So in this, like this year, it's a pretty sizable spread, but they put that out the window and all of that. But Conference USA Open play last week with 5 teams playing. There were 2 conference games. FIU went to Louisiana Tech, led for 59 minutes before Tech got the win in the final minute. We had UTEP go to Jacksonville State. UTEP ran some crazy stuff and got beat. And then New Mexico State hosted UMass in a non-conference game at home and absolutely had their doors blown off. So did you gain anything from what you saw in the league last week?
I watched a lot of the FIU Louisiana Tech game, and that was a game that just was given away there towards the end. Louisiana Tech won. It was a lot of fun, though. But you know what? A team that I saw last year up close, because I went down and saw one of their games, is Jacksonville State. It's a lot of talent.
Yes,
on the football team.
Rich Rodriguez is their head coach.
That's a good program, a good coach, good fan base, really good. I think that could be a sleeper team in Conference USA this year. I know Western will be good, Middle's going to be good,
Liberty's going to be good.
Yeah, Jacksonville State's going to be a heck of a ball game at Floyd Stadium later this year. But I think Jacksonville State, to me, is going to be a team to watch out for. And it was fun watching that, the Louisiana Tech FIU game, because you're like, we're down to the fourth quarter of the last play, and the guy runs it in from like 40 yards out, and they win the game. A lot of fun, but that'll be a fun year in the Conference USA. But I'm looking forward to the Western game and that Jacksonville State game.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll head down I-65 on Friday. We'll be on the air pregame show at 5 o'clock, kickoff at 6:30 at Bryant-Denny, and Big Joe will be by my side, and looking forward to that. I'm fired up, and let's go have some fun this weekend.
Absolutely, Chip. As always, thank you, brother.
All right, thank you much. Big Joe Dubin there. I want to thank Nick McDevitt and Justin Buford for joining us also. Brian Barrett is coming up next, so keep it here on the Big G WGNS.